What if your money could make money while you sleep? It's a concept that has fascinated economists, investors, and everyday people for centuries. This seemingly magical phenomenon is known as compound interest, and it's often referred to as the engine behind long-term wealth creation. Albert Einstein once famously declared, "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world." But what exactly did he mean by that? It's a cycle that, given enough time, can transform modest savings into substantial wealth. Compound interest, in its simplest form, is when your money earns interest, and that interest starts earning more interest. Picture a single dollar bill. Now imagine that dollar growing, multiplying, and eventually becoming a mountain of money. That's the essence of compound interest at work. To truly grasp this concept, it's helpful to contrast it with simple interest. Imagine you invest $100 at an annual interest rate of 10%. After the first year, your investment would grow to $110. But here's where it gets interesting. There is a simple rule of thumb known as the Rule of 72 that illustrates this point. If you divide 72 by your interest rate, you'll get an estimate of how many years it takes for your money to double. Buffett has built his fortune slowly but steadily, relying heavily on the power of compound interest. This isn't because he suddenly became a better investor in his later years. Rather, it's because the compounding effect of his earlier investments had reached a tipping point, generating returns on a massive scale. Inflation, for instance, can silently eat away at your returns, reducing the real value of your money over time. It is a stark reminder of how seemingly small choices can have outsized impact when it comes to long-term financial growth. High fees, whether from investment management or financial products, can also significantly impact long-term growth. And perhaps most detrimental of all is the temptation to withdraw funds too early, cutting short the compounding process before it has a chance to reach its full potential. Even small amounts, invested wisely, can grow into substantial sums, given enough time. He once said, "My wealth has come from a combination of living in America, some lucky genes, and compound interest." By doing so, you're maximizing the compounding effect. This approach, often called dollar cost average, can help smooth out market volatility and keep you disciplined in your saving habits. The interest you pay on credit cards or personal loans is often far higher than what you can earn through investments, effectively working against your wealth-building effort. These provide broad market exposure and typically have lower fees than actively managed funds, allowing more of your money to benefit from compounding over time. Your future self will thank you for the foresight and discipline you demonstrate now. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and the path to financial security starts with understanding and harnessing the power of compound interest. Consider this. If you had invested just $1 in the S&P 500 index in 1950 and reinvested all dividends, that single dollar would be worth over $2,000 today. This remarkable growth isn't just a matter of academic interest. It's the principle that underpins pension funds, mutual funds, and even national wealth plans. Even small amounts, invested wisely and given enough time, can grow into something truly substantial. This principle applies not just to financial wealth, but to many areas of life where consistent, small efforts can lead to significant results over time. In the second year, you're not just earning interest on your original dollar. 100 UI now earning interest on $110. One starts saving at age 20, while the other begins at age 30. In a world that often prioritizes instant gratification, the patience required for compound interest to work, its magic can seem at odds with our natural inclinations. But as we've seen, time is your greatest asset when it comes to building wealth. Even if the person who starts early and invests less overall, they're likely to end up with a significantly larger sum due to the extra years of compounding. So at the end of year 2, your investment has grown to $121. By the end of the third year, it's reached $133.10. While simple interest is calculated only on the principal amount, compound interest is calculated on both the principal and the accumulated interest from previous periods. This difference, though subtle at first, becomes increasingly significant over time. It plays a crucial role in retirement funds, where small, consistent contributions can grow substantially over decades, and it's a fundamental principle underlying long-term stock market returns. Let's explore a straightforward example to illustrate how compound interest operates in practice. This pattern of accelerated growth is what we call exponential growth. It's the reason why compound interest becomes increasingly powerful over longer periods of time. In the real world, you'll encounter compound interest in various contexts. It's at work in your savings accounts, albeit often at much lower rates. Time is perhaps the most critical factor when it comes to compound interest. To truly appreciate the impact of time on compound interest, consider two hypothetical individuals. This principle is exemplified by the story of Warren Buffett, one of the world's most successful investors. What is particularly striking about Buffett's wealth accumulation is that he made over 90% of his fortune after the age of 50. The historical power of compounding is equally impressive when we look at broader market trends. However, it's important to recognize that compound interest isn't without its challenges. There are several factors that can erode its power. Visualize a steadily growing bar chart representing your wealth. Now imagine that bar beginning to shrink due to these bad decisions. So, how can you harness the power of compound interest in your own life? There are several key strategies to keep in mind. First and foremost, start early. The sooner you begin, the more time your money has to grow. Consistency is also crucial. Regular, monthly contributions to your investments can significantly boost your long-term returns. Whenever possible, reinvest your returns. This means allowing dividends and interest payments to be automatically reinvested rather than withdrawing them. It's also important to avoid unnecessary debt, particularly high-interest consumer debt. For those new to investing, a simple and effective strategy often involves low-cost index funds. As we reflect on the power of compound interest, it's worth considering its broader implications. The key takeaway is to think long-term. So, as you contemplate your financial future, remember this simple yet powerful truth. Time is your greatest asset. Start compounding today.